Hello, and welcome to Assistant Elections, where today I will be making part two to my previous video. And the previous video went over what would happen if a best case scenario for the GOP in the Senate occurred in the upcoming elections in 2020. Now, this video, I'll be looking at the opposite. What would happen if the Democrats had amazing turnout, amazing campaigns in all the competitive states, and did the best they theoretically could in November. Now, just to start off, this is not my actual prediction, and neither was the previous video. This is just looking at what theoretically could happen. So I'm not going to be saying Arkansas or Alaska is going to be going to the Democrats. It is theoretical and something that could possibly happen if all the cards turned in the Democrats' favor. Now, to start off, we're going to be characterizing the safe Republican states, the ones that will have no chance of flipping to the Democrats, move through some of the western states, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Alaska, Mississippi, Tennessee, and I think West Virginia is the only other one we can characterize as a safe Republican state. And the Democrats, and this is a best case scenario for them. So states like Oregon and Minnesota will not, and New Mexico will not be characterized as likely. And now we'll just characterize the definite Democratic safe states, such as Illinois and the ones in the Northeast. There we go. As well as Virginia, definitely going to be a safe state in this scenario. So at the moment, the Democrats have a 44 to 41 lead with 15 toss-up seats. However, this is going to be a Democratic wave year, so we're going to be going through the likely Democratic states, and this will include ones such as Colorado. Even though a Republican incumbent currently holds the seat, Cory Gardner, it's already looking terrible for him, for his prospects in November. And in a best case scenario, this will be a likely over 5-point margin win for John Hickenlooper, who will probably be the eventual nominee. And then we're just going to move over to Michigan, Gary Peters, incumbent, and Jeanne Shaheen in Hampshire. And at the moment, Democrats only need 3 more to gain a 50-50 split and 4 more to win it outright. But now we're going to go through the Republicans' likely seats. This would be Kentucky and South Carolina. Even though these contain unpopular incumbents, they're still solidly Republican seats, and even in a best case scenario, they will not be flipping to the Democrats. Same with David Perdue, Georgia. Again, much more of a competitive state, but still definitely going to be going to the Republicans. And I also think it's probably those ones that we can characterize as likely. And now we're going to be moving into the lean Republican column, states that will probably still go to the GOP even in a best case scenario. And this would include states such as Iowa and Texas, both with a Republican incumbent. And despite possibly being competitive states, at least Texas later on in the decade will definitely be a competitive state. At the moment, these are both solidly in the GOP's favor in the Senate. And I think we can also characterize Georgia's special election. Whoever the candidate is, they will probably not face a strong Democratic challenge there. And I'm also going to be characterizing Alabama. Doug Jones, the incumbent, nearly everyone is saying that he will definitely lose out. But in a best case scenario, this will not revert it back to the once safe Alabama Senate seat that it was. But still respectable, 1 to 5% margin of victory for the GOP. And this is where it starts to get interesting for the Democrats in their best case scenario. First of all, their best chance of picking up a seat, other than Colorado, would be in Arizona, and this will be going to the Democrats by a lean margin. Mark Kelly already outperforming Martha McSally in many statewide polls here, and that is met with a possible situation where the Democrats get everything that needs to happen for them to have the best case scenario. And we're also going to be moving into another swing state that has a good chance of going to the Democrats if they perform well here, and that is North Carolina. The incumbent Tom Tillis will have a struggle against Al Cunningham, and Cunningham will prevail in this race in a best case scenario. Now, these three states, you might be wondering, two of these are solidly Republican in any presidential election, and Maine would be a Democratic safe state minus the 2nd district, where these are all Republican incumbents at the moment, and Kansas will still be going to the Republicans in this situation, but this will be by a tilt margin, as they have had big problems in Kansas in the last 2 years. They narrowly lost the governor race to a Democrat, and the person who actually lost that governor race back in 2018 is currently running for the Kansas Senate seat. And if he is elected as or selected as the Republican nominee for the seat, then that could be very dangerous for the Republican Party. However, they would still, at the end of the day, is Kansas in the Senate hasn't gone Democratic for a long time, and it will still, even by a tilt margin, in a best case scenario for the Democrats, it will be going to the GOP. However, these last two states, Maine will be a lean margin for the Democrats, and Montana will be a tilt margin for the Democrats. And this leaves them with a majority of 1 in the House, even if in the Senate, even if Donald Trump does win the presidency, the Democrats would still have the Senate majority and control. And this would be through the states of Montana and Maine, with Montana not really being characterized as that competitive until the current governor, who is term limited, Steve Bullock, dropped out of the presidential race. He said he was not going to run for Senate, however, almost on deadline day, would you say, he changed his mind and filed to be a candidate in that race, and he is now the favorite to take the Democratic nomination. And that could definitely be interesting for the incumbent Republican in the seat. And we're just saying in this situation, it would be a tilt, very, very narrow victory for the Democrats in the state of Montana. And moving over to Maine, probably the senator who has had the fastest slip of approval ratings across the entire nation, Susan Collins, 4-term or 3-term senator. She's managed to remain quite popular until some of the very controversial sidings with Trump in the Senate, such as the Brett Kavanaugh confirmation. And all of this hate towards her has grown in the past 2 years would boil over into a victory for the Democratic challenger in the state. So this is my final prediction. If a Democratic wave in the Senate did happen, this is probably the best case scenario that they could get out of it. And I think this is a 4-seat gain for the Democrats if this did occur. Despite losing Alabama, they gain Colorado, Arizona, North Carolina, Maine, and Montana. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy. And please like, comment, and subscribe for more election prediction videos and historical videos in the future. And I will see you again soon.